It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show and Western Eyre Netball. It's up and going. Of course, the old Far West Netball Association has joined forces with a couple of clubs from the now defunct Midwest Netball Association to form this newly minted comp. And joining us on the line now is, of course, Rhianna Freeman. She's back. How are you, Rhianna?
Well, good, very good, thank you. How are you?
Good to have you back in action again, and good to see the Hawks were back in action on the weekend. What did you make of it? What's it like playing in the new comp?
Look, the word around the street is obviously everyone's super excited and really keen and very happy with the new league. But lots of the people from the club said a fantastic day and absolutely loved it, but it felt like a bit of a trial match. I don't think it's really feels like that's how it's going to be every week this week. So I think give us a couple of weeks and it definitely won't be a trial match. This is our new home. Indeed,
it is your new home, and you've settled into it against Thevenard on the weekend. At Pidnippy, they came down to see you guys. It wasn't a trial game. There were premiership points on offer, and in the A grade, the West Coast Hawks had a really, really good win, 46-34 against Thevenard. Great way to start the season.
Absolutely. Look, we're certainly not disappointed with that, but I must say the score doesn't really depict how the game went. I think Sevy were up by 2 in the first quarter, and there's probably only a couple of goals in the whole along the whole way of the game. And then Marnie Trowbridge, her driver, got a little bit of a corky, so she's the Sevy centre, and she went off, and it took Sevy a little bit to readjust. It was really only in the last 5 or 10 minutes we stretched out. Hawks coming away with a 12-goal win, 46 to Sevy's 34, but we will take the win.
As you should. Congratulations to the West Coast Hawks, 1 from 1 in their new competition. And if you have a look at how the Hawks went throughout the rest of the grades, I think you only lost only one of the senior games that you played through the 4 grades. The other 3 had a win, and I think you did okay in the juniors as well.
Yeah, we did. So both our junior sides did really well with margins of 39 and 32. I think Hawks are probably pretty privileged that we've got one town that we draw all our players from, and up the junior way they've sort of got 4 teams that they draw from one team, so they're a little bit more spread out. But we are very lucky to have some super talented young players in our club, and I think those scorelines show it.
Absolutely. All right. So if we have a look at some of the other matches in the A-grade competition from last week, and the other new kids on the block were Wirrallah. They took on Western United. They had a good solid win, 41-26. So Wirrallah settling into their new digs comfortably as well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously, I know Wirrallah's team and how they play, so I expected them to come out firing and have a really good game. I do not know too much about the Westies team at all. I think the first round will be very interesting to see how everyone lines up against each other. So I was a bit surprised by the 15-goal win, even though I said I didn't know much about Westies. Wirrallah's side looking a little bit different this year, but they have still got Emma and Soph in goals and Sarah and Hayley in defence. So still a very solid side, and I think they'll be extremely happy with a 15-goal win first game for the season.
They would be. Of course, for the Wirrallah folk, they also won the B grade, went down in the C grade and the D grade. So, 50-50. Can't complain. I reckon Wirrallah, you'd take that, wouldn't you?
That's right. Well, they had some really big margins in all of their other grades. So they, in the B grade, they only won by 6, but in the C grade, they actually went down by 51. So Westies have obviously got a really strong C grade side and a strong D grade. And Westies have actually got 2 D grade sides this year. So there'll be a couple of midweek games, but for their second or one of their 2 D grade sides to still beat a side by 25, that means they're obviously looking in good shape as well.
Exactly. And the last match of the round in the A grade from the weekend was the all Ceduna affair of Kinniba taking on Ceduna Blues. And, we know that Smoky Bay folk play for the Blues, so it's not all Ceduna, but you get my point. It was the Blues who were too good in the end, 68-33. So they're up and about early doors as well. What do you know about both of those sides?
Absolutely nothing. Not one thing. But we play Blues this week, so we'll have more. But I must say, when I looked at this scoreline, 68 in an A-grade game, first game of the season, that's a lot of goals to be shot. And I must say, at Pidnippy, I can't talk on behalf of the other locations, but it was hot. First game always is, but it was definitely hot on Saturday. The Hawks girls and the Sevi girls were, having a bit of a sweat. The sun was out, and it wasn't an easy day. So to get 68 first game in with that sort of heat, super impressed with Blues, and super excited to see what they bring to the court this week.
Indeed. Well, let's have a look at that to start with. Ceduna Blues taking on your West Coast Hawks. You will head up the highway to Ceduna, and this is where I reckon reality will hit home. It's not a trial game. You are playing for points in Ceduna.
Absolutely, and all games are in Ceduna this week, so both at Ceduna, Sevi, and then at Kiniga's home ground, which they call the Red Shed. So, this will be really exciting, starting with Blues and Hawks, obviously both coming off quite good wins, both feeling pretty good. I'm privileged enough to coach these Hawks girls, but I did tell them I'm going to tip against them and go for the Blues, because I don't think you can say we're going to win when we have no idea what that team looks like. And with a win like that last week, they've obviously got a really handy side.
They certainly do. So it should be an interesting result, that one. We'll keep a close eye on that one as it comes through. But tell you what, the other team that has joined you guys there in Western Eyre Netball, Wirrallah, they've got an interesting assignment ahead of them as well. Thevenard were obviously pretty good against you guys last week, so this should be a beauty, Thevenard and Wirrallah at Thevenard.
Yeah, I agree. For Sevi last week, they had Lindsay Denton is back after doing an Achilles, and she played in wing attack. And ordinarily, I've always sort of known her to play in a defensive or a goal position. So I think as the season goes on, she might head either into defence or goals, and that will make a big difference in their team also. And also on Saturday, with those changes and the heat, that sort of got to them. And Wirrallah coming off a win, I actually think this will be a cracking game. Obviously, knowing now what Sevi look like and knowing how Wirrallah play, this would be a really good game. I'm going to tip Wirrallah just because that's what I know.
Fair enough. And the last match of the round will be at Kiniba, the Red Shed. I think you called it. Kiniba taking on Western United, who will head down the highway for this one from Penong to take on the Red and Whites. What do you know about both of these clubs at this point?
Look, I know a few names in both, but not that I've really seen them play netball for a few years. So, obviously really unknown. I think going on last week's results, you'd have to tip Westies because I do know Wirrallah are a really solid side and they only went down by 15. But who knows? Kiniba could have had players out. They might have just been a little bit underprepared for the first game. So it really is the unknown. But I think common sense on last week's results would have to say you'd have to tip the Westies.
Should be a cracking round of netball. Round 2 of Western Eyre Netball. And Rhianna, great chatting with you about it. Good to have you back for season 2021. All the best with your trip to Ceduna on the weekend. And we'll catch up with you next week to find out how you went.
Looking forward to it and looking forward to actually knowing a little more information as we face each side for you.
Good on you, mate. All the best.
No worries. Thank you.